My name is Charles Peter, and I'm the Managing Director of Datalaw and also the Managing Director of a Liverpool law practice. Over the years, I've had considerable experience of training from both sides of the fence. I know what it's like from a solicitor's point of view, trying to fit in training in a busy schedule, and also how difficult it can be, whether you're the culp or the practice manager, when you try to make some coherent sense of what solicitors have done and what they need to do to comply with the new SRA requirements. So, what are we going to cover in today's webinar? Well, firstly, I'm going to talk you through what the new SRA requirements are and how they affect your firm. Then we'll talk about practice managers' new responsibilities, and finally, what you have to ensure that your solicitors are all doing. Then Sean is going to talk you through how to track all your solicitors' training, how practice managers can get all their solicitors to take their SRA self-assessments, notify any solicitors who aren't keeping up with their CPD requirements, and create a firm's CPD risk report in under 5 minutes each month, something that the culp will need. Okay. So let's talk for a moment or two about some of the new SRA requirements. You may already know that the SRA have removed the mandatory tick box requirement for solicitors to undertake 16 CPD hours per year. But it has been replaced with a different requirement which should be revisited at least quarterly. And this involves a whole host of questions that you need to ensure your solicitors are reflecting upon, answering, actioning, and also evidencing correctly. Practice managers also have new responsibilities. The culp is now responsible for ensuring that risks of solicitors being properly trained is effectively discharged. As a practice manager, I'm sure that a lot of this responsibility for gathering this information in an easily accessible format which is suitable for the SRA, Lexel and especially your insurers is something that you will have to produce. You also need to ensure certain things that your solicitors are doing. I won't go into the tedious questions here. For that we have another webinar that we can send you to share with your solicitors. However, as I touched upon before, it's paramount that your solicitors demonstrate that they are addressing these questions within the specific guidelines that the SRA have set out to ensure they are meeting their continuing competency needs. And this includes the following 4 things. Firstly, they need to reflect on their learning needs, and this is something that needs to be done in writing. Secondly, they need to plan what their learning needs are and what they're going to do. Thirdly, they need to action this plan, which is actually doing the work that they say they're going to do. And fourthly, they need to evaluate what they've done, in other words, the learning outcome. And all these things needs to be correctly recorded. Organising solicitors to do all these steps and to ensure they meet the SRA's new guidelines is likely to cause you a massive headache, as we all know that attempting to organise solicitors can be like juggling sand. This is why we have created a new learning competency platform. It has a simple multiple choice self-assessment with all the questions that solicitors need to ask themselves. The system creates a training plan with a pre-filmed column with all of the 4 steps that I mentioned before. You as a practice manager get a special dashboard to view. This includes everything that solicitors have done so far and other key areas for ensuring your solicitor's CPD is up to date simply. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass you over to Sean, who's going to talk you through the system and how it can make your life a little more tolerable.
Thank you for the introduction, Charles. Before we move on, let me just recap where we are so far and what we've covered. First, Charles went through what the SRA requirements are and how they affect your firm. Then Charles talked about the practice manager's new responsibilities. And finally went on to talk about how you ensure your solicitors are doing what they should be doing. Now let's move on to talk about how practice managers can get your solicitors to easily take their SRA self-assessment. So first, let's start by logging into a demo account. This is for a small firm of only 10 users, but as you well know, 10 solicitors can be a big handful. Once you're logged in, you will see the course dashboard. From there, navigate to the top right hand corner, select the drop down and select the My Dashboard. So straight away you can see that we're presented with a dashboard with a whole host of information. Now, don't be intimidated by this information. Other practice managers who we have run training sessions with have found that as soon as they sort of understand a few little bits about this data, it has saved them hours of time throughout the week. So first we have the total number of hours of CPD training across your entire firm. So this firm currently has 9 registered users, and this time is for all of them, and that is for the date range that is provided in the top right hand corner, which you can change at any point. Next we have the average time. So this is the time that users on average have spent within this date range taking their CPD courses. Then we have the number of completed courses and the number of courses that are in progress. Then we have the average time to complete each course, which we can see on average our solicitors on this account have spent 2 hours and 5 minutes to complete each course. Next, you have a really good piece of information, which is the assessments and the number of assessments completed. And then we have red flags, which I'll come back to both of these at the end. So what are these graphs that we have underneath? So we've got the users hours summary. So this is a graph of the days, weeks and months, and you can filter this however you like. And it shows you on average the days that they're either doing CPD training or they aren't doing CPD training, which months they do more CPD training, which can be useful for scheduling and training sessions with your solicitors, and also useful for just collecting reports on when solicitors are doing training. Then if we scroll down slightly, we can see that we have category progress, which is a pie chart of the overall percentage of categories that your solicitors are spending time training on. So for this firm, we can see that they have spent a lot of their time on children law and a lot of their time on SRA regulatory and compliance. This is useful for practice managers to see which categories their solicitors are training in and which categories they may need more training in. So before we move on to the rest of the items on this dashboard, let's talk a little bit more about the SRA self-assessment. Now, this is a self-assessment, 23 multiple choice questions, and it is super easy for your solicitors to take this assessment and to create themselves a bespoke training plan. So why is it so important that your solicitors take this self-assessment? This 23 question multiple choice assessment will allow your solicitors to quickly and easily fill out the SRA's competency statement and also create themselves a bespoke training plan. So, just to give you a taste of what the SRA self-assessment is like for your solicitors, I'm going to log in as one of the solicitors on the account that we were logged into before, and I'm going to navigate to the section where I can take my training plan. And I'm going to click on the button that says take your SRA self-assessment. You can see that they're presented with real easy questions and just a few multiple choice options. They're also presented with explanations for each question. Answering these questions will allow our system to create them a bespoke training plan and also to fill out the SRA competency statements as they're answering the questions. Okay, so fast forwarding to one I have taken earlier, and I'm just going to click the submit button, and you'll see that we're automatically generated the training plan and SRA competency statement. Now, what's so good about this training plan is that you are given the framework that the SRA has provided, and all of the multiple choice questions are sorted into the framework with their answers and a statement to the SRA which is in accordance to their reflection and their answers from the SRA self-assessment. Now, another great thing about this training plan is that not only is it a competency statement, but also it allows your solicitors to quickly take the training action required to ensure that they are SRA safe. So in this training plan, all they have to do is click go to course, and they'll automatically be taken to the course that they can then go and start their training on. Now, any time spent on these courses will automatically be tracked, recorded and evidenced.
Hello and welcome to this
in
webinar
the
on
training plan. So I'm going to go through and quickly fill this course out. Your solicitors, of course, will take the time to watch each of these videos, make notes, and go through the documentation. Excellent. So we finished this course. We're presented with a certificate of achievement for this course, which your solicitors can easily print out. But more importantly, they are also then given this course progress in their training plan. So if we go to the training plan, you can see that I've started this course. Of course, I didn't spend any time actually taking the course, and the system acknowledges that. And we'll talk about red flags and risk analysis in the system in a moment. But just see here that it's noted that we started the course. Now, if for example I've taken this course elsewhere and I wanted to make a note of that for the SRA as well, we can add additional training notes here. So say for example I've done this training in-house in a session which was in the middle of March, and it took roughly 2 hours, and I wanted to give more information. Click save, and you can see that the note is then updated, where you can view the note, edit and delete the note. Excellent. So now that we've covered the SRA training plan and competency statements, as well as the SRA self-assessment, we can see how this is reflected in the practice manager's dashboard. So let's go back to the practice manager's dashboard. Great. So I've logged back in as the practice manager. We can see that now instead of 7 people taking their SRA self-assessment, we're now presented with 8 people who have taken their SRA self-assessment, and we can see that this solicitor, the one that I logged in just a moment ago, is added to this list. That's excellent because it means that practice managers can automatically see who is and isn't keeping up with the SRA guidelines, and we can also see down here who is and isn't doing the training correctly. So before, what I did was I went through the course very quickly. I didn't take time to actually watch the videos, and the system is clever enough to note that down and to send that information to the practice manager. So you can see that I only spent 9 seconds on this course in total, and 6 seconds taking this slide in total, and it lets the practice managers just keep an eye on whether or not the solicitors are actually doing the work that they're saying that they're doing, which from a firm standpoint can be very important. Great, so let's talk about a few other risk and also features that the system has to allow you to mitigate risk, and in particular CPD risk. Here we've got the CPD risk gauge. Now this is made up of a number of different factors, from the volume of CPD training that your firm is doing to the quality of CPD training that your firm is doing, as well as a whole host of other items. Now this gauge can be updated as well through the range, so we can see the different dates And more importantly, we've got over here a way to actually notify the solicitors who aren't taking CPD training and allow them to know that you as a practice manager know that they're not doing the training, and you want them to do more training. So it sends a quick notification email. See, it was successfully sent. So if I was to log in as this person, I can see the email that has been sent to them. Excellent. We can do the same as well for solicitors who are spending a good amount of time, and we need to kind of notify them that we've noted that they're spending time on CPD training as well. So that's the success email there. Finally, how do you print all of this off to take to a meeting or to take to training, or to give to the SRA in evidence and purposes? Well, that's easy as well. All you have to do is we'll scroll back up to the top and you click on this print button at the top. You instantly generated the report and dashboard and a snapshot of all of the information above, which can be changed again by the dates. Great, so now I'll pass you back to Charles, who will just summarise what we've been through in this webinar.
Thanks, Sean. So, in summary, I talked you through the new SRA requirements and how they affect your firm, practice managers' new responsibilities, and what you have to do to ensure that your solicitors are all doing what they have to do. Then Sean took you through how practice managers can get all their solicitors to take their SRA self-assessments, how they can track solicitor CP training and how you can track all of that, notifying solicitors who aren't keeping up with their requirements, and how to create a firm's CPD risk report in under 5 minutes each month. So now we're going to move on to the questions and answer session. Yeah, we have one question here. Do individuals, Angela, have to answer questions at the end of each webinar or even take a test?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, thank you. So there are actually questions that you can answer as part of some of the webinars. This is more designed to get the delegates thinking a little bit more about the content of the webinar itself. So you can download those from the notes section within your account, and you'll be able to look at their progress on that, save it to their own file, whichever's easiest for you, really. Thank you.
Another question, how do I see where solicitors are up to?
So yeah, that's really important from a practice manager's perspective, most definitely, because you need to be at the stage where you can ensure that particular people are developing in the way that they should. you can actually go into your individual solicitor area and drill down into their specific progress. And the ones that are causing risk or are doing particularly well, Sean has already shown you that you can send a quick email to praise them or give them a little reminder that they need to be getting a little bit better along.
And is this platform sufficient evidence for the SRA?
Yes, so long as the guidance is being followed. The system is a tool. We give you the tools to help you to become SRA compliant. At the end of the day, once they've done the self-assessment, it's down to the individual and yourselves to manage to ensure that those courses have been undergone. So yeah, you can actually print that for any evidence that you need once that training has been completed.
And is it easy to set up?
Very simple to set up. It can be a little bit time consuming for individuals setting up with law firms themselves if there are a large amount of users, but we do have full technical support here just to make sure that we can get the initial setup running as smoothly as possible for you. So let's just have a look at another question here. Does the risk register have to be updated monthly, quarterly or annually? So as part of the SRA's requirements, you should actually be reviewing your competence on a quarterly basis. So the risk gauge will update at least on a quarterly basis, and it'll update as new training is added in and undergone. Okay.
Here's a very important question for you. How much does it cost?
Yeah, so that's actually following on from an additional question here. So there is a different pricing structure dependent on the size of your firm. So we do anything that ranges from 10 solicitors, from one solicitor, 10 solicitors for a practice manager's firm, all the way up to sort of 1,000 solicitors and above. If anybody is looking for some urgent pricing, they need to get costings quite quickly, just shout up in the comments here. I'll make sure it's prioritised so that you get a bespoke rate following your attendance today.
Oh, we've got another question here. Here's a question. Are solicitors complete a plan as part of the appraisal process, but the appraisal year runs from the 1st of July to the 30th of June? Does the training plan have to run for the same period as the CPD year, which used to be the 1st of November to the 31st of October? You had a different time period on the training plan in the example you gave.
So there is no way of quantifying it within years now, because the CPD year per se has completely gone with the new SRA's requirements. So yeah, it's a really good question, because that is something that comes up quite a lot, to be fair. You can manage this however you deem fit, so long as from your perspective when you set it up that you are reviewing it on a quarterly basis to make sure that's at least to make sure that you're demonstrating the key requirements that the SRA are asking for.
Okay, here's a specific question on price.
Okay.
Oh, it's disappeared. Wait a minute, it's coming back again, yeah. Following on from this user's last question, how much does it cost if you've got 10 solicitors in your practice?
Okay, so I mean the base cost itself to get access all areas for up to 10 solicitors is $1,990 up front, or it's $199 per month on a monthly rolling basis. That way is a really good way to do it in terms of cash flow. However, again, I can see your comments coming up here. If you do need urgent costings, you will get some bespoke pricing following your attendance today.
Okay. I've got another one here. Does the risk register, I think we've done that, haven't we? The risk register have to be updated monthly, quarterly, or annually? I think we've answered that one.
Can see a few more 7 solicitors here. Paul, I'll make sure that I get back to you individually. You'd be looking at an up to 10 firm user license.
Yeah. I think that's it. I don't think we have any more questions.
That's great. If there are no more questions, thanks everybody for joining in today. Thanks a lot for your time.